Hey there guys, I'm Heidi with Heavenly Minded Homemaker, Heavenly Minded Homeschool, whatever mixture thereof you want to call it, and welcome to the introduction for a new series we're going to do. We've been vlogging through our past couple homeschool years, and I shared that we are calling it quits on this year. We're done for the year, and I want to go ahead. This is a process that I am working on again for myself, and I figured I would share the process with you guys. And that process comes from Flylady. It is a free resource here online. They're super amazing. They've been around for a while, and it's just a system that's very common sense, but one to help you kind of get back in control of your home and your life. And so it was something that many of you, I'm sure, have heard of. I know many of you have sent me messages when I told you last week I was going to be working on this, and it was something that you've done before, you wanted to get into, and you just found it too overwhelming, or a kind of combination thereof. So I will share just a little bit. I'm gonna try to do it super quick because a friend and I kind of had a conversation discussing it, and we ended up talking for a lot longer than we expected to. So I'm gonna try to make this quick so this video doesn't take you forever to try to get through. Basically, I became a wife and a mom at 17 years old. On my 18th birthday, we moved into our first apartment, and all of a sudden I had to take care of another human being, my husband, my spouse, or my husband and myself, all in a home of our own for the first time, and we had no idea what we were doing, and I was completely overwhelmed by it. So I ended up finding a resource called Flylady, and this was 16 years ago, and it was a life changer for me. It helped me to be able to not only get a handle on my home, create some kind of routine. It would very much help me to build a lot of confidence in my skills and my abilities as a homemaker. And things that even when I worked outside of the home, these were a lot of the things that I would go back to and rely on to help me kind of keep control of all of the things when we do have so much going on and there is so much to juggle, and it can become so overwhelming so fast. And I know for many of us, these were a lot of skills that I never really was taught. I never really, basics here and there, but not an overall thing. I even shared Flylady with my mom all those years back, and now she uses it all the time, and she loves it. So when my friend, who will share here in a little bit, but she found her original binder that like you do everything out of, your control journal. And we both kind of, she called me and showed me all about it. We're like, you know what? We need to teach our kids this. We need to kind of reboost ourselves here in this Flylady system. And it was funny because for me, going through and looking at the stuff to put together for you guys, I kind of chuckled at how much 16 years ago really was ingrained in me, because so many things I do today, I totally forgot originally came from being like a Flylady thing that I did. And I've been kind of sticking to that routine all these years later, even forgetting that that's where it came from. So what we're going to do here though, is I noticed a couple things when I started going through it, was that it's a lot. When you go to their website, it's a lot. And the older I've gotten, the more and more minimal and intentional I have gotten. And so when I was looking at it, I was like, yeah, I'm going to cut out about 90% of this right off the bat. And the other thing is that I need to have a biblical focus. If we do not have a biblical foundation in everything that we do, if we are not first and foremost pursuing our relationship with the Lord, then what on earth are we doing? What on earth are we actually accomplishing? So I'm going to be sharing here for the rest of the month the initial little baby steps to get you going, to get you started. So if you would like to join us, make sure you subscribe and tap the little bell icon. You'll get notified every day during the week of just a little daily mission, a little daily thing that we are going to do to get us started and focused on here. If you would like to go to the Flylady website, sign up for their emails and all of the things, you can do that. Let me tell you though, it's going to be a lot. It might be a little overwhelming. You're going to get like half a dozen emails a day of different things. My intention is to kind of piggyback off of what they're doing, which they're fantastic and I give them all credit for it. But I'm just saying, hey, I've done their system. I've continued on with it. I mean, we're talking for, decade and a half already. It's crazy to think of how long it's been. I'm taking that and just simplifying it, minimizing, simplifying, and most importantly, I want to add a solid biblical foundation to this. Because again, if we are not rooted in God's word, rooted in prayer, living life biblically, then what on earth are we doing? It doesn't matter how awesome your home is and how organized you are. If your heart isn't right with the Lord, all of it is in vain. So if you want to join me for the rest of the month, we're going to go through, and I'm going to be doing it myself as well, the baby steps to build this foundation that we need to really get this program going together. And then next month, we're going to start adding in the kids. But I want us to focus on mom first, right? If mom doesn't have a handle on it, if mom's not setting the example first and foremost, then I think that's just not the right way to go about it. So we're going to do it first. We're going to set the example. Next month, we will add in the kids because I'm going to be doing a whole system for my kids. And I've got ages 2 to almost 16. So we've got a big age range here that I'm going to be working on, and we're going to share everything with you guys along the way. So excuse me. So I hope this blesses you. Happy Mother's Day. I totally didn't think about this, that it was Mother's Day when we did all of this. You'll see when you get to the end, but I'm going to stop now. I'm going to get into the conversation with my friend. I hope it blesses you guys. I know it's long. We're a little chatty, but hey, grab a cup of tea or coffee and come and sit down and enjoy a chit chat with us while we talk about these things and dig into it. And then tomorrow we're going to get started. So if you're ready, I'm like beyond ready. I'm so excited. I've been like dying over the past week to get into this with you guys. So tomorrow, be back here. We're going to do day 1 and get going. Come and listen to the conversation with us now, and I'll see you guys all then. Bye, guys. Okay, so we explained a little bit about what Flylady is, how it works, kind of that introduction process, and again, the importance of like kind of streamlining it, minimalizing it, and keeping that biblical focus. But you guys know Lex from our Mary More Than Martha, which we haven't done in
forever,
a very long time. But she was coming up today anyways.
I have a car now, though.
You do, yes.
And once this lockdown is lifted, we can
do all the things. And so they came up today, and I was like, you know what? I think that it is worthwhile to kind of have a conversation about Flylady, specifically just because we both have experience with it like 15, 16 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was her finding her original binder and messaging. You called me and you're like, I have to tell you about this. Look what I found.
I made her, I literally blew up her phone, guys. I was like, Heidi. And then I went into a group chat that we have with the admin, and I literally was like, Mom. We
have to talk right now.
You need to video call me. I have to show you something. No one else will get it. And I did. I pulled it out and was showing her the whole thing.
Because we did this. We were both new moms. We were very young, married, had kids, and was like, oh my gosh, how do we do this? I don't know how to do these things. And we found Flylady, and it was such a game changer for us. And so I thought it was worthwhile to sit down and have a conversation and share a little bit going into this, because we're going to get into, for the next few weeks until the end of the month, kind of the day by day how to do these things, how to make these little adjustments that will have a big impact for your home, yourself, your family, you know, all of the things. But I think it's kind of easy to go into like step 1, do this, step 2, do that, right? Like those are kind of the easy parts in theory, but why? What's like the deeper reason to all of it?
Yeah, what does it do for you? How does it motivate you? How does it keep you on track? And of course, everything we do, it all kind of cycles back to what is this going to do for your relationship with the Lord? What is this going to do for your relationship with your husband and your kids, and just how you view your home? And I feel like in a weird way, I don't think we ever really thought about it before, but a lot of the principles and things that we learned through trial and error with Flylady, I think kind of apply to how we view things and approach things and tackle things today. And so it's just, you know, for me, I've kind of really been on fire about, well, I have all girls. Yeah. I felt completely unprepared to do any of this. So then it was like, you know, what am I going to do? Wait for my oldest to be 18 or 20 or however old she is when she gets married and be like, here you go, start this. Yeah. Why not find a way to incorporate this and make it a family thing?
And I kind of felt the same with my kids getting older and looking at it and being like, why don't you guys know how to properly put on your sheets? Why do you not know how to keep up with this or how to do that? Like, I am all about minimalism and simplifying. Like, how do you guys not know how to do this? And then it was like holding that mirror up and being like, if you don't know how to do it, it's because I haven't given you the tools to know how to do it.
Right.
So that's on me. Why haven't I taught you this? And then it was like, why I would teach you Flylady.
Right. And I can say I've been doing this. My kids have been, I think, the guinea pigs for how, and obviously everybody's family is going to be tailored different. How I do it for my family is not necessarily going to look the way you do it for yours. We have different personalities. Sure. We have different living situations, all the things. But it's, still, how is it even worth it to try and break it down to a kid level? Yeah. And I can tell you, I've got a 3-year-old and almost 6-year-old. Oh my gosh, she's going to be 6 in like a couple weeks. Yeah. And an almost 12-year-old. They've all thrived. Yeah. We have not had one day in the last week where they have fought. They get actively mad when we're not doing their
we're doing the
routines and stuff that they do. And a big part of that is I kind of slacked on having any kind of routine at all. Mm-hmm. We had things that we did every day, but it was just kind of like, when we get to it. Obviously, kids thrive on routine.
They do.
I did not realize.
It doesn't have to be rigid and super strict, but to have that predictability.
Although my middle one apparently is like, schedule everything in my life. This is amazing.
She messaged me like, what was your second day into this? And you're like, she was up at 6:30, dressed to shoes, ready to go, bed made, all of the things.
Yeah, she's banging on the bedroom door, and I open the door, and she's standing there. She's got on jeans, t-shirt, shoes. Her bed's been made. Her sister's completely dressed. Her sister's bed's made. She's like, where's my breakfast? Are we going on our family walk? What's going on? What's happening?
It's 6:30 in the morning.
I was like, it's not time to be awake yet.
Why are we doing this?
Yeah. So it's been pretty awesome though. So,
but I know, because both of us, we did Flylady when we first found it. We're talking 15, 16 years ago, you guys. It's been a while. And then...
Well, so to recap, just really quick, because not everybody knows like the origin stories and how we both grew up with single moms.
Yep.
That had careers.
Yep.
You had younger siblings and took on, some responsibility with that. And I think both of us had this experience of, which is funny because in the Flylady intro, she kind of talks about this, of on Saturday, that's our cleaning day. Yep. Or at the end of the day when we get home.
To get everything done.
And it was just like, get it done. We've got to do this.
My mom would have us stay up late Friday night. So she's like, if you want to have a Saturday, then we'd be up Friday till midnight or later after school trying to do all of the chores in one go.
Yeah, and it's just my sister and I we will joke with each other about how every couple of weekends and stuff. My mom was not always home every weekend because she worked 6 hours away, but it would be, we would wake up and she would put a Mr. Clean magic eraser in my hand. My job was always, it started with scrub down every single baseboard in this house. And I'm like, why is it spring cleaning every Saturday? Why is this something that we have to do? So, and then on the other hand, I then had a grandmother who lived with us who then did everything. And there was so yeah, I had personal responsibility, clean your room, blah, 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 blah. But there was no real rhyme or reason or routine.
Well, and I feel like because we were friends as kids and go over and do things, your home was always pristine. Mm-hmm. Like if HGTV was a thing back in the day, the showroom house, that was their house that she lived in. The houses you look at and you're like, nobody actually lives here. Yeah. That was their house. But you had your grandmother and these things. And
so imagine my surprise when I got married.
Exactly. And you're like, who keeps it perfect?
And I'm like,
who does these things? How does it happen?
Forgetting to pay certain bills, have no idea how to meal plan. It was just
I think it was almost a disadvantage for you, right?
It was.
We didn't have anyone to do it for us. So for us, like I said, my mom would say, hey, if you want to have a weekend, Friday night, you don't go to bed until stuff's done.
Right.
So we had to do everything.
Well, and I think for you, the way that backfired was you became everything has to be always put together and perfect because I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we're just going to have it done.
Yeah.
All the time.
Exactly.
And so I think we both kind of just like extremes
whereas you had the opposite extreme where you had a grandmother who had, I mean, she was home all the time. She didn't have anything else to do. So she kept everything pristine and perfect. Yeah. And then you become an adult and you're like, oh wait. Yeah. Who does all the things?
So, and what I really liked, what's funny is you and I approach things so differently. Our brains just work very differently, but we both have the same flaw of we want things done in a certain way. We're very hard on ourselves. Yes. We are very, I wanted to look, I mean, I'm sitting here, you guys typing up the lists.
And you have color them for hours now.
And all of these things. That's just I like everything to be, you know, a certain way. And so I think one of the things I really love about Flylady is that a big part of the underlying motto is jump in where you are. Yep. Perfection is the enemy. Yep.
Done over perfect.
One of her quotes, what's funny is I hear it and I'm like, oh, that's really awesome. But then it also goes against the grain. And it's something along the lines of 15 minutes of housework done incorrectly is still a blessing to your family. Yes. And that's something that I'm like, oh, and it reminds me, like, I don't fix my kids' beds when they make them.
That was something that was really hard for me to work on. Yeah. Is letting the kids do a job and being grateful for it. Like, I mean, you know, my mom, we had to keep cans a certain way in the pantry. Like when I fold towels, when I put, you see my pantry, when I put stuff away, it looks very much one way. So having to be like, hey, you blessed me. My husband always says that. He goes, honey, if it fits, it ships. If somebody is willing to help you do the job. Right. Cool. Yeah. You were, but that is such a big thing. And I think what's so cool about Flylady then is, yes, you can do it it doesn't have to be perfect. Perfection's not what we're going for in this, but breaking it up into these simple, easy steps that even the children can learn to do causes it to elevate their level of quality, I think, as well. So that becomes less of an issue, I think, the further you go on.
Well, and that's like I was telling you, simply by having a morning, afternoon, and evening routine for each of my children, they have their own. Now, my older one has kind of created her own with my guidance. I did the little kids. Ones, but they do, so like we do a 5-minute room rescue every night with the kids, and that's where I set a timer, and they have to save their room.
There's a timer going. It makes it so much more fun.
And it's just to give you guys a little sneak peek. Like I literally went in the room and I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, your room is in danger of becoming a catastrophe. You've got 5 minutes to save it. And here my little 3-year-old with her little stubby legs. Okay, she's throwing stuffed animals over her head like this to put them on the thing. And they're picking up all the trash. And look, their room has not been, it started out a mess. I did not, and that's the one thing I just really want to encourage anybody who goes, okay, I want to do this. Yeah. And I know I have the tendency to be this person. I know you have the tendency. 10 years ago, if I had the 3 kids now and the house was, and I was just not in it, if I was, you know, in a different place, I would have been like, let me make my house perfect and then
we'll do it.
Mm-hmm. And that's where too, like when I did the Bible reading challenge, I'm like, just
jump in.
Just jump in and don't feel like you have to start on the first day of the month or just jump in wherever you are and it's fine. And it really is. We did maybe 80% of the stuff this week, but really simply having the routines. They pick out their clothes every night. And then just laundry was my one thing. Laundry and dishes. Keeping those things maintained. And I don't mean doing everything all at once. I mean literally doing it exactly how they have it listed in Flylady, which is very simple, very easy, like does not take a lot of time.
15-minute increments. I mean, that's what amazes me is so often, I know my tendency is I will procrastinate until it becomes an emergency. And then I will work to the point that I'm about ready to have a heart attack.
Yeah, well,
because that's healthy.
And I know it drives your husband nuts because I think they figured out by now, but you're the kind of person, if you don't feel good, you're still working. Yes. Even I can remember pregnancies that you had. Yes. I can remember like all of us just going, please.
When I answered business calls in the hospital hours after having a C-section, I thought my husband was going to kill me. He was like, tell her right now you just got out of surgery. And I was like, honey, no, it's okay, I got it. And he's like, tell her right now you just got out of surgery. You just birthed a human. Get off the phone.
But, and right now, even sitting here right now, we're doing a family day. We're up here. We've been...
hey, you want to work?
Hanging out. Well, but this is fun.
It is.
This is fun. But it's my living room. I never got to my living room last week. We just started. My living room essentially looks like 3 kids have been living in there. It's been kind of straightened up, but it's just, The kitchen is, but all the dishes are clean and put away.
Total win.
It's a win. I'm taking it because when you have a family of 5 and you cook every meal,
it's a lot of dishes.
It's a lot of dishes. And so I felt like I was doing dishes all day long, and I don't do that anymore. I'm able to load up my dishwasher, run it at night, put them away in the morning. Boom. That's it. Done. So just doing the little simple things. And when I was really doing Flylady, and you can probably attest to this, you guys, my house looked basically company ready. Not like, I'm not talking homemaker.
Like not ready for my mom to come over with her white gloves. But
like, I wouldn't panic if someone said, hey, I'm going to swing by. And it took me maybe 30 minutes a day once everything had been in place for a while.
And that's, I think, the big point to it.
With no stress.
Yes. And because the thing I love about Flylady is it's so simple. It is so common sense when you look at it, and it's so attainable. So it's just little intentional changes that they're never overwhelming. Right. You accomplish so much more. Oh, that's what I was going to say. So I will procrastinate until I get to heart attack. I forgot what I was saying. Until I get to heart attack level, I will. And then I'll go crazy and do a million things. And it drives everybody crazy. It stresses the kids out. It makes my husband want to pluck his eyeballs out. I really don't think it's good for my health.
It's really not.
So I get it. Okay.
For the record, you've always been that way. You were like that in school too.
I know. I have always been that way. And it's been brought up to me on multiple occasions that it's an issue. So, the thing I love about Flylady is I feel like you end up accomplishing so much more with way less effort.
Yeah, it really is.
I don't always know.
No, but it is. It is. Yeah. I mean, even my husband was like, wow, like,
you got all this done.
I've talked before about, how my hormones will throw me out of whack, and how sometimes that gives me like the physical.
Trav, just let her in here, sweetie. The baby woke up from her nap and she's not doing well.
How that sometimes gives me the physical aspects of depression, of just being super tired, or oh baby, it's okay. You just need mama snuggles.
Talk about hormones.
Poor baby. There's just so much going on today. And so I tend to go through cycles of my house being perfect or my house being trashed, and there's never.
Well, you're an all in or all out.
I am.
Right?
I really am. I'm an all in or an all out. And it's because when I'm all in, I fall into the everything must be clean at every moment. My kids are not allowed to leave a dish dirty. They have to clean it and dry it and put it away. Everything like to that level. Or when I get very overwhelmed, typically this happens when the laundry starts piling up and the dishes start piling up. And then I feel like I'm fighting a losing battle.
So it's like, why even?
And I have gotten better where I will still do things to kind of try and maintain it where it's at. But then I don't have the extra 12 hours in a day to do.
Survival maintaining.
It is.
Like, I have to still clothe these children.
Yeah.
We need clean undies. Like, I will survive.
And so where my house was at when I found this, because there's just been a lot going on. It's been a transition being in quarantine and having to figure out, my kids are very different when their dad works from home. We are still doing school. We are still, dad has decided like we are finishing this curriculum and we are doing it correctly. So that is what we're doing. And, so we've been, okay, let's get all that. It's also birthday season for us. And then we've got,
you guys have birthdays one right after the other.
Yeah. It's insane. My sister, it's her first year going through this married.
Have fun.
And she was like, oh my gosh, the birthdays. So anyway, so we're going through all of that, and it's just been, I've had a lot on my plate that didn't give me a ton of time to keep up with laundry. This week, I think it was about 15 actually. 15 loads of laundry this week. Because what would happen is...
She texted me last night. She's like, there will not be one piece of dirty cloth in this house after I finish this.
But I didn't have to obsess or stress out to get it that way. I still enjoyed my kids. I still had family time. So it's been amazing, because here's what I'll do. okay, I'm just going to do one load of laundry right after the other. But now I'm tired, and all of my stuff is sitting in laundry baskets in my room.
So now I went from having a ton of dirty laundry to a ton of clean laundry.
And now we're living out of the laundry baskets, and then they all get dirty again. And then there's this cycle of, and when you have little kids, the clean clothes end up on the floor, and what's going on. So now it was, you know, one of the principles of Flylady is when you do a load of laundry, when you get out of the dryer, you're putting it up right away. It only takes 15 minutes. Guys, I timed it.
Yeah.
And I'm talking, I have a large capacity washing machine for like king size comforters.
Yeah.
I was filling my washing machine. It took me 15 minutes to put away a full load.
Full thing.
With all of the kids' clothes.
And that's me. I will wash and dry all day long, and then getting it put away, I don't know. I can't do it.
I think that's everyone's struggle.
Like, but I have made intentional decisions. Like, we used to have our dining room table by the dryer, and then we moved the dining room table. But then I had that little couch in there because I didn't have anywhere. So then next thing I knew, there was always laundry on the couch. So I literally stripped. There's nowhere to put our laundry, and so most of the time we'll make a little spot real quick, and I'll have to do it. But it's like literally somewhere that we have no other option, or I will fold it as I pull it out because it's like. I have to, but I have to be intentional about that. Yeah. And I feel like there's some areas that the system really simplifies and makes really easy. So you kind of go on autopilot. You don't have to worry about it. So those areas that you know you really struggle with,
right? I
feel like I'm almost freed up to be more motivated to be intentional about those areas because everything else has become so much easier.
Well, part of the success, I think, is that they tell you what to do and when to do it. So I don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
I just have to check it off my list.
Yeah. Because when we're trying to, when we're moms, right? And most of us will be homeschool. Everybody's home all the time. Maybe you've got a spouse home you're not used to and all these other things. You can't go anywhere. And it's like, I don't need anything else I have to think about. Yeah. Tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Yeah. Well, and like one of my favorite things about the system is when you write out your routines and stuff, I have motivational questions on mine. So like one of my things on my morning routine is drink a cup of water for every cup of coffee. So now every time I drink a cup of coffee, I put a little box next to that question and check it off when I drink the water. Cool. Another one, what's for lunch? I look at this routine list pretty much right after I've had my coffee in the morning. And so I'm seeing it and I already know what I'm giving my kids for lunch. I don't have to plan it the night before. Listen, guys, I don't have the brain power to plan out lunch every day for a week. I'd rather just figure it out there. I'm not at the stage where I'm meal planning right now. Right now, I'm just, let me get my routines going. So then the other question is, what's for dinner? So now, and I write in dry erase marker on my thing, this is what I want to make for dinner. Yeah. And make a note if I need to go to the store to grab things for it. So now I'm not, oh shoot, it's 4 o'clock, I forgot. Maybe we'll order pizza.
It's like we've had pizza 6 days this week.
I mean, I don't think the kids would ever
Our kids would all be so fine with it. I would poke my eyeballs out.
Although, you know, one of our fallbacks is like some kind of like burrito bowl or taco.
You know what's hilarious is when we were planning last night and going over what you guys were bringing up, last night before I went to bed was like, oh, what am I going to make for dinner? We're going to have you guys up here today. And I was like, okay, I'll figure it out in the morning. And then this whole day has been like so crazy and chaotic. Guess what time it is? It's 4:30. What are we going to make for dinner?
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. The kids are all going, pizza.
So I just think it's really cool. And there are some things in this system that I think for us, we're kind of like, take it or leave it.
I think I was amazed. So Lex found her old binder. It's your control journal. It's like everything goes around.
Nothing has changed.
So she kind of like, when we video called and she was showing me all this, I'm like, oh my gosh, like we start thinking of all these things and I can't wait to share some of the things because then I pulled up, there's the baby steps. There's 31 on Flylady. There's 31 baby steps to get you started. And what I'm going to be showing from Monday through the end of the month is kind of I'm taking it and saying, hey, for those of you who are into this and you're excited to try this out, but you want a more minimal, simplified, and biblically focused, not even just base, but focused thing here, that's what I'm sharing. Right. So Flylady is amazing. If you don't want what I have to share, go over and get what they have because it's awesome. I'm just kind of sharing kind of a tweak on that. But what really cracked me up is looking through these 31 baby steps when I was like, okay, which ones do I think are important to share with you guys like in this series? I was cracking up at, you guys, I haven't had my, okay, hold on. Now she's getting into all the things. Thank you. I have not had my control journal that I like was living out of for over a dozen years now. It's been a while, you guys, since I had mine and was doing all that. But I was cracking up going through the baby steps, how many things that I ingrained in myself so well in those early, like, formative housewife years of mine that I still do those on the norm. Yeah. I like forgot it was even a Flylady thing. You know what I mean? Like, I've just done it for so long. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. That was one of the things.
And what I think is really cool. So in another life, I'm a dog trainer and there's this thing called going back to kindergarten. And what that is once you've trained a dog to do something, if they start, you know, you're not always on the ball all the time. And so sometimes the dogs backslide a little bit. And so you can do something called going back to kindergarten. And that's where you go back to the very first step of how you taught them to do that trick or whatever. But you very quickly in one sitting move through. Yeah. So like you lure a dog into the sit position, then you teach them the word, then you know, that kind of thing. So instead of it taking days or weeks, it takes you just one session and you've gone back to kindergarten, kind of sped through the steps, refreshed it. I felt like I was going back to kindergarten with this. The second, like I found this, talked to you, and the next day, because I decided I'm just going to go with what I already have here and I'll edit it as I need to, because I'm trying very hard to let go and just go with things and be, you know, forgiving about the things that aren't perfect. And so I got up and I got dressed all the way down to lace up shoes. Very important, guys. Very important. And then I was like, well, I know that that's step one, but I have to make my bed now because
I know what's coming next.
And so I automatically found myself.
So like, you did like your 31-day baby step reboot, like in one, you know, thing. Yeah.
And it felt very natural. And so when you do, and I do, by the way, feel like it's very important that if you don't have a system, if you're just like, I've been flying by the seat of my pants and I feel like I'm drowning all the time. Yeah. If you really are trying to make habitual changes, I cannot stress enough. I really do believe that it is important to allow yourself the time to go through the steps day by day.
Because it might seem silly and little and like really, like especially the first beginning, you're like, really? That's the big change I'm making? Yes. Yes, that is the big change you're making. And I'm telling you that it might seem like, you're telling me I'm going to get my whole house in order. It's always going to be company ready at like only a little bit of my time per day. And all I have to do today is make sure my sink is shiny.
Which that is the first step, you guys.
You guys, I cannot wait for day one. I already have stories I want to share. I'm so excited. And I'm not doing mine until I record the video. Okay. So I've just been like letting it sit and I keep looking at it and I'm like, oh, sink. You don't even know what you're in for.
And it's so much fun. It's so
and my
funny.
husband's like, you've lost your mind.
But it's funny though, because it really is one of those pivotal things. And you know, I just put together, it's one of those, that was from Flylady things, where if my kitchen was dirty, in particular, if I had dishes in the sink, it would stress me out and it would just bog me down. And that was like my number one thing that would just make me feel like I was going to lose it, was if my kitchen wasn't put in order. I felt like that's my clutter that attracts clutter, kind of a thing. And I think it's because it all goes back to keep the sink empty, keep it wiped out. My 12-year-old has her own sink that she does. Although I will say, as I've been going through back through this for this week, I have not been as, you know, because instead of having my kids, okay, you're just going to get dressed today, I'm having them jump in where I'm at, but that's because I'm the parent and I'm the one reminding them what to do. So it's a little bit different, but I'm also not, some of the things I'm not pushing too terribly hard. Although the kids' bathroom sink has been clean every day this week, which if you have kids,
have you seen the video with the man brushing his teeth? He spits it everywhere. We made the kids watch it, and we were like, "Is this what you do?" I'm pretty sure it is.
It must be.
Sure it's what you do.
I know Emma gets in there, and she is that kid that squeezes out. And here's the thing: is that Kaylin, our oldest, used the charcoal toothpaste for a long time.
It's black everywhere.
She's not allowed to use it anymore because her sisters do that. In fact, they now have their own caddies. None of them keep any of their stuff in the bathroom anymore. They're in my bathroom. And so they have to take the caddies into their bathroom and then take them back because I could not keep the 3-year-old out of the bathroom. And I know some people out there are probably like, well, just get a handle on your kid. You guys, I could not keep the 3-year-old out of the bathroom.
Wasn't working.
Because here's the thing. I should get to go to the bathroom eventually too, right? Like,
and the moment you go to the bathroom, she's like, oh, hey, mom's gone.
And my 3-year-old should not have to be in there with me. I'm just saying, like, where you've hit the point where questions start getting asked and I just don't want to answer them. So she can give me privacy now.
Yes.
We don't have that. I'm not nursing anymore. We don't have, I now own my body.
Please tell me how
again.
amazing it is to get to go to the bathroom by yourself. Olivia comes up to me. If she sees me walk down the hallway through the day, she'll come up and hold my hand and go, pee? Want to go pee? Like, yes, I did. By myself, preferably.
I kid you not. I started going into my bedroom, locking my bedroom door, because then the kids would...
setting up booby traps to
the
get
kids,
to the bathroom.
So then what they did is they would come into my room and they would talk to me through the bathroom door and
you
get
still hear
into
me,
all my
Mom?
stuff.
Hey, Mom. Hey, Mom. What are you doing?
I know. It's habitual. Travis, actually, now when he gets home from work, half the time I'm in our room with the door locked. I don't even know I'm locking the door anymore.
Just do it.
So I lock the bedroom door and then I lock the bathroom. Keep in mind, I have a 12-year-old also,
it's not
so
like
it's
you've
not
got a
like
3-year-old
my
out running loose. Yeah.
So I do. I lock them out, and I'm like, okay, this is how it is now. That's how I had to gain my privacy back because she, especially with the 3-year-old, she now wants me to wear her all the time again. It's like she went back to being an 18-month-old. I don't know what happened, but I'm enjoying it because she's my baby.
She's your baby.
So, but I totally feel you. I feel your pain. Anyway, we're off.
Daddy tried to go to the bathroom the other day, and she tried to follow him, and he said, no. No. And I was like, oh, what? You have the capability to go to the restroom by yourself? And he said, yeah. Boy, so bye. I was like, well, you win that one. Getting to be a boy, whatever.
That's gonna just start a whole other conversation with me. I often, guys, just to give you, like, I like to go, okay, well, why in society? Not that I necessarily have an opinion that's differing from what anybody, but I like to have the discussions about.
And she does this often with both of our husbands, and they basically just go, because.
Well, I just want to know, like, what's your opinion on? Like, I like to pick apart the whys of society, right? Like, so some things.
I think we're gonna get cut off.
Uh-oh. I want to know, like, are we doing what we do because we find that it's biblical, or is this a society thing?
Sure.
Were we raised to think a certain way for a reason,
Why
or are we just kind of like sheeple? That's the thing. I just want to know. Like, I'm curious. Like, so it's not that I'm trying to start fights all the time or anything.
Just some of the times.
No, I just legitimately, and well, so the problem is it often looks like a fight because I will play devil's advocate.
She does. And
regardless,
she's really good at it.
And it's not that I necessarily...
Which is good because it makes you stop and think. But it's just funny because whenever it comes to these roles with like moms, dads,
right?
It's both of our husbands are just like, well, because.
Right.
That's why.
Right. So, well, and it's funny which answers are super automatic.
Yeah.
And which ones aren't. For example, when I asked, would you allow a boy to use any kind of makeup to cover up blemishes?
Sure.
The guy,
saying like teenage boys with like acne and stuff like that.
Was working when we were having that conversation, but I knew what his response would be. And it's funny, I kind of wish he would have done it, but his immediate was like, no. Why? Well, guys don't wear makeup. Okay. But you and I were like, well, it's not like they should be allowed to, minimize a little bit if it's just like a treatment kind of a thing. So it's just funny to me. It's just men versus women, and is it Christian men and women, or is it American men and women?
Yeah, are we coming at this because of a biblical reason, or and I think that's what honestly, kind of with when I was went back to the Flylady website and was rereading everything again, sign up for things. I was like, okay, the number one thing that jumps out to me is, as I've gotten older, I have become so minimal in so many ways that this to me is far too much. Mm-hmm. I understand it and I get it, and it's great, I'm sure, for many people, but the more and more I feel minimalist inclined in my ways, or whatever you want to call it, that was like when I was making observations, because I was like, hey, is this something that I could share through the channel that could be beneficial to someone else? And I was like, okay, it's got to be more minimal. And then when I was looking at a couple other things, I'm like, okay, all of this is great, but why are we doing this?
Right.
Why are we taking care? Why do we need to get a hold of our homes? Why do we need, why do we need to do, why does it matter? You know, and then but it's kind of that process of, is it because of society? No, I don't care what other people think. Is it because of this? Is it because, I started kind of going that, and that's where it came back to, no, this is a biblical.
Right. And so, and there are some things with there that I personally would reword. So I have an aversion to the word pamper.
Yes. Yeah. There's a couple things what is it?
They have pamper missions, pamper yourself. And look, to be honest,
I get the point. I do.
A lot of the things that they talk about are actually very valuable. The pamper mission for this week was to have lunch with a friend.
Yeah.
So,
well, and what is it that FLY stands for? Finally loving yourself. And I'm like, you are a wretch. You do not love yourself. You are sinful flesh. You know what I mean? That part of it. But it's but I get it. I get
at the same time, though, I will say that I think you and I were just very we're very quick to jump on the semantics of it. And I do think that part of it is it's not really about finally loving yourself, although that's what they say. But when you break down what they're actually doing.
Yes, it totally makes sense. I think we just get a little gun shy because of our age and demographic. The whole thing is about self-care, self-love, self. And so whenever that comes up, I'm like, nope. You deserve nothing. You deserve death. You are sinful. You know what I mean? That's my jump go-to.
Yeah. So,
so that's where those things kind of came around. It was okay, but I want to not only dig into the hows and whys to do these things, or the practical application. She is jacking stuff out of your purse. Hey baby. But I want to talk about that deeper level of it, and that's where I might even find ways to force you into a couple more of these as we go through the process, because I think it is such a valuable conversation. You know what I mean? Because there is the practicality of keeping your house clean and tidy and orderly. There's a lot of importance to that, but there's also a lot of deeper spiritual, real heavy stuff that comes under all of that.
And you're right. And I did, it's very different.
I don't have any gum.
The me of today is approaching this very differently than 20-year-old me.
Oh, totally.
And so for sure, I'll show them a little bit. So I personally love the control journal aspect, although I will say that it is entirely possible to do the system without the control journal. Yeah. There is a minimalist way to do it without even a control journal. They have a thing on their website that's a launch pad, and all you do is click on that every day, click on the mission of the day, and you can just read it there. And so but I need to be efficient. I have to have something to put in my hands, and I'm finding my children are all very much that way too. Yeah. You do not build this right away. This is something that over time you do. I just was blessed enough that God preserved it for me, so I already had it. But I added under my daily routines tab this list of books of the Bible. I don't know if they can read that. I know it's backwards. But then also, this is you had done something like this, and this is the one I offered. So I have a mini binder, so I did it on mini. So it's every book of the Bible is listed with every chapter in the book. It's fine. So that I can check off, visually see and check off what I've done. And notice I put it in front of my morning routine, even though it's not the first thing on my morning routine. It is one of the first things I specifically do, but every time I go to the routines, this is here. And so it reminds me where am I at. Yeah. So, and I even color coded because I'm weird. My Old Testament books are in one color.
All in or all out, guys. That is how she works.
So, what, baby?
She wants to go outside, Bubba. Oh, are the bees still out there?
Aw. And that's in my evening routine, I ask the questions have I blessed my husband today?
I love that. There's bees swarming outside.
So I do. You do have to try and make sure that you are incorporating. For me, I incorporate visual reminders of how am I building my relationship with the Lord? How am I'm doing this because I want to be a biblical wife. That is the why. And so I think it's very important to have your why very clear. If your why is, I don't want to be embarrassed about my home and I want to have people come over, that should just be a benefit. Yeah. But the why, I think for us has been, it taught us how to love and enjoy being biblical wives.
Absolutely.
Because one of those things.
And it made it attainable. It was never that, like, I can never be that wife, you know what I mean? Like, or whatever.
It
like,
really is so,
it made it
so stress-free. Nothing.
Bubba, can you help us with her, please?
Nothing takes a super long period of time. There has not, so for example, so she breaks everything down into zones. Last week was the kitchen. And she had a detailed cleaning list, and every day there was a mini mission that you could do. Almost every mission took under 5 minutes. Some of them took 30 seconds.
When you don't procrastinate, these things are really easy to do.
One of them, I think they said set your timer for 15 minutes. It didn't even take me 15 minutes. I actually combined it with another mission. Again, I forgive myself and just kind of move forward. I didn't do it on the day it was listed. But the entire detailed cleaning list, which looks very intimidating when you pull it out, takes maybe 30 minutes. And there's one day that you do focus on this.
And we're talking like deep cleaning all of the things that you normally never have time to get to, and then you break it all down and it's like, oh, 30 minutes, everything's done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's pretty amazing. And then like with my kids, everything is like 5 minutes. All I want you to do is take 5 minutes to do this one thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's very useful. I think it helps retrain your brain a little bit. A lot of it becomes automatic. You don't need to.
You don't even think about it anymore.
Not everybody needs to have everything divvied up in a binder like this. I do, and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. I'm an office person. Like, I like to have the colored pens and the papers. I have 10 different kinds of highlighters, and I also have like a calendar book
that brings you joy. Like,
but it is. It's one of those things. So
it makes the job enjoyable.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that everybody needs to do this. This is something, it's a treat for myself. I'm pampering myself by allowing myself
all the dividers and markers. And
no, but it really is. And I went so nuts with it. I had extra dividers to bring up here and extra, so it's pretty cool. And again, my kids, theirs are completely different.
Super simple.
Very simple. It's stuff that they do anyway, but it gets them actively thinking about what is my routine? What am I doing? My 3-year-old, she gets up, she makes her bed, she gets dressed. Breakfast is one of the things on her list. Then it's family walk, family Bible, and a school activity. Yeah. That's it. It's stuff we did anyway, but she gets so much joy out of feeling like she accomplished a routine. My 6-year-old is a little more in depth. It's all of those, and she's got to feed her bunny, make sure that that's taken care of, and then the family walk and school and Bible and all of that. My 12-year-old has way more. Yeah. And it's just, hers isn't anymore, it's less intensive than mine, and mine takes about 30 minutes, so it's not a big deal.
Donkey.
Oh, her binder. Oh, my kids, I let them design their own covers. And so Emma's she specifically asked for a donkey, and her favorite color is orange. So
done deal.
It has that. So she really enjoys hers.
And she was watching Legally Blonde. Orange is the new pink.
They did watch Legally Blonde, but actually orange, I think, was her favorite color by default. It's weird. I think there's a psychological thing. I bought one of those when I got sick of my kids always leaving all their dishes out. I bought one of those sets from Walmart that has 4 different color bowls, 4 different colored trays, forks, spoons, and cups. And each of the kids got to pick their color. Well, Kaylin's favorite color was blue at the time, so she picked blue. Then next was teal, and that was Sophie's pick. And Emma was left with red or orange, so she picked orange. And because I think it was the first thing that was identifiably hers that nobody else ever touched, I think she latched onto it.
Orange is the winner.
So, it just happened that, it's a bright color, it's fun, and she really likes it. So now that's kind of her go-to. That's even the marker she uses to do her routine is orange.
So everybody, this is just the introduction where I kind of set it up. We're discussing it, and then we're going to start Monday through Friday. I'll have a video that comes out with Monday through Saturday, I think I have it planned to be. You will have a little video that's kind of a setting it up, like, hey, this is what we're doing today, this is what, whatever. So any advice for those going into this, totally new. Maybe you tried it before or something like it before. Maybe you're overwhelmed or you're just trying to maintain. Any advice you would give for those jumping in?
Don't feel like you have to do everything at once.
Yeah. That's great.
One thing at a time. Change one thing.
Yeah.
And
because it is impactful.
And again, if you were part of the home church group when I did the Bible reading plan that we did to build the habit, I feel
like I'm going to actually kind of like pull your thing back in for this, because when I kept looking at it, I was like, that. Like, I loved how you set that up.
There's a snowball effect.
There is.
And so if you do one thing, change one thing, eventually that turns into 2. And that 2 turns into 4. And that 4 turns into 8, because you just find yourself gaining momentum and going. So don't feel like, I know one of the things that's going to happen is that you're going to be asked, what do I need to get for this? Somebody out there is going to want to get all of the things to make one of these and make sure that they have all of things. Don't.
No, yeah.
You will be given. I'm sorry, guys. We're exuberant today. You will be given heads up.
Yep.
When you need to have something. If you absolutely must get something now, get a binder, get some line paper, get a pencil.
That's it. Yeah. If you feel like you have to have something to get, because we are going to talk through the steps. We're going to talk through the control journal. We're going to talk through the routines and the missions and all of the stuff.
Right.
And the only difference here is I intend to be much more simple and intentional with the things. So if you are a person that wants all of the things and all of the stuff, and that's what works best for you, then by all means, go to Flylady's website right now and just sign up, and you will have plenty and plenty of resources.
Right.
And even if you're not sure, you can go there and start looking around to get it. And then what I plan to share is just kind of a simplified, streamlined version of that, and coming from people who have done this for a long time, kind of like the best take out of that. And then that way, I mean, everything's completely customizable to what works best for you and your family. But yeah, you don't have to do all of the things. You don't have to go get any stuff.
And the next thing is, yes, I've decided to incorporate my kids into this, but I'm not necessarily recommending that for everyone. If you've never done something like this before, you first.
Yeah. And that's why I plan for the rest of this month, the month of May, right? We're in May? The rest of May. I am only focusing on us moms.
Right.
If we don't have our life together, you're not going to be helping everybody else.
And I say that because I know one of the things that we do when we try to incorporate change is we try to make the whole family change with us at the same time. And we almost hinge our success on their success.
Yes.
And so, just because you want to get dressed every day and make your bed every day, if your kids have never done that before, there is no sense in getting frustrated with them for not automatically having it every single day.
And this is something I am very guilty of. If you are a mom, possibly like me, who is quick to jump on all these different trains, your family is used to you. One day you're like this and one day you're like that. And so they're like, all of a sudden you walk in and say, hey, we're doing this Flylady thing now. Here's your control journal, They're going to be like, you're crazy. Yeah. You're going to be over this in a week. Why do I need to get worked up over this? Yeah. So I'm saying for the next 3 weeks, we're going to work on you. We're going to work on your routines and setting that example, which again, we're going back to biblical aspects here. You being the example and serving your family and kind of setting the tone in these things. And then come June, we're going to start kind of in baby steps, bringing the kids in and kind of pulling that in that to kind of ease into that. Because by then we're saying, hey, the past few weeks, like you see, it isn't just, we're not talking about just some fad thing we're jumping into. Oh my word.
We just wanted to do the one video, guys.
We'll stop. But it's not just going to be about, show them that, I think you're going to gain credibility with your family when you show them that you're serious about this.
Right.
And you show them that you're serious about this because for an extended amount of time, you're going to stay dutiful to this with a servant's heart in a loving way.
And here's the thing is that this system it really does seem
Did baby
almost...
give you a bloody nose?
No, she cut it.
Oh.
She cut it inside my nose.
With what?
For now.
Oh.
You sliced your brother's nose open.
With her nail, to be clear.
To be clear, yes.
She
What's
had
funny
one,
is
too,
this
but-
morning I was like, I need to clip your nails.
What was I saying? Oh, the system seems almost too good to be true.
Like, what's the gimmick?
Seems like it's too simple.
15 minutes a day and my whole house will be clean.
But
Okay.
you know what? Here's the thing. My husband, and he did this the first time around, by the way. So I feel like this potentially could be a fairly common thing, but he like started jumping on board after he started seeing like, oh, you're not stressed anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You have time for me now.
Mm-hmm.
And you're only having to work 15 to 20 minutes on this, and you have all of this.
And he's getting to enjoy the
open.
benefit of kids and you and home.
Because
all being
usually
put
what
together.
I'm doing is I'm trying to get all of my house clean, but if I spend all day in the kitchen trying to get it clean from top to bottom, then the living room is trashed.
Yeah.
And I spend all day trying to get the living room perfect
Yeah.
top to bottom, well, then their room is trashed. And then when I spend all day getting all of the rooms back in order, then I got to do the bathrooms.
And then the
by
kitchen's
time-
a disaster all over again.
So I spend all of my time
And then you're
spending
just
4 or 5
crying.
hours a day trying to make sure everything looks perfect all the time, and I'm exhausted. So now I'm giving myself permission to get
And your
myself...
husband's like, yay, I'm so glad I came home
So
today.
now, when you start this system, you'll spend a week getting a specific area in order, and then the next week you'll move on to another area, and then the next... While still, you will still have things that you do throughout the week that maintain.
Yeah.
It does not take a lot of time.
No.
So it's not... It seems intimidating when you first look at it all, but it is a life-changing thing.
It is.
For me, it really was. And I recommend it. I mean, literally, I found this because I was telling my sister she needed to do
I
this.
have recommended this to so many people.
Yeah.
I mean, because I did it. And you did it.
Uh-huh.
My mom started doing it. Like, I've recommended it to friends and family. And so many people over the past, I mean, Travis will be 16
We've
this
actually
year.
talked about this before.
We've talked about it in little bits, and it's funny because then I have other people who are like, oh yeah, and different people, and I hear that so much, they're like, oh, I just wanted to get into it, but it seemed like so much, or da-da-da, just
And by
different
the way,
things.
it's free.
Yeah, everything's free.
It's free, whether you do just these videos or if you actually go to the Flylady. They have a team over there that is incredible.
Yes.
They,
And their passion and their service is just amazing, and
Right.
it always has been.
And while it does seem to have, a bent on loving yourself and self this, I really do feel that the heart of everything in there is a better family dynamic.
Absolutely.
And all of that. And so they just have packaged it in such a way and that they really just want to help people, and they really want all of these women who feel like pulling their hair out every day to have a system that works. Yes, they have a store to sell things. They do this because the lady who started all of this, Marla, could not do it by herself anymore, had to bring other people on. They have people helping and actually working there, so they have the store now to help.
And their stuff is good quality. I mean, I know back in the day when we purchased things there, like,
it's fantastic.
it's great stuff. Yeah.
They really do. They really do a good job. I have not bought anything from them for over a decade. I do not feel their emails do have a lot though of here's 25% off. Go check this out. But I also don't actually feel pressured to go get.
Yeah.
It's not like you have to buy the things from the shop to make things work.
But it's smart for them. Why wouldn't they offer stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, they put in so much work
Right.
at no cost to you. Like, if they have a way to make some money, genius.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? So everything's free. We're going to be going through now for the rest of the month, starting on Monday. I'm thinking this video is going to come up Sunday because it's Saturday and the day's almost over and we have to go feed people. So Sunday.
What a great Mother's Day video.
Oh, happy Mother's Day, everyone. Look at that. I perfectly timed
Happy
it.
Mother's Day. Go clean your house. No, we're kidding.
No.
This is a gift.
We're talking. It really is
It's
a
a
gift,
gift.
though. It honestly is. I am not kidding. It really, really is. And for my mother's.
There's a reason I geeked out when I found it and called you and made you look.
For Mother's Day, because I couldn't pick out a gift, and my family was getting so annoyed with me that I couldn't pick out a gift. All of our floors are like hardwood or laminate floors. We have no carpet in our house, so mopping is like a huge deal. The mop that I use, I either have my e-cloth mop, which I feel like with the amount of traffic through my house just isn't enough. And so I used this like spin brush scrubber thing, which is amazing, but I'm like the only one who can do it.
Okay.
And so when I mop, it's like a whole process to bring it out and do the whole thing. So I do the whole house. It's like multiple hours worth of work and nobody else can do it. And so, but like genuinely, my kids can't run this and do it. Travis could, but I mean, that kid does so many other things. I'm not going to have him do that. And so I used to have my steam cleaner that I loved and it broke. I had it for years and used, okay, would you stop please? It finally broke. And so I found on Amazon Warehouse for a crazy good deal, the like new version of the steamer. And I was like, we're getting ready to start the Flylady thing. Being able to clean the like spot treatment, my floors. Because that's another thing. I don't usually clean the spots because I'm like, I'll just wait till I do the whole thing.
Right.
But having this that I can keep in the kitchen and we can easily pull out, the kids can even do it, quick spot. I'm like, starting the Flylady thing, getting that for like, this is my Mother's Day gift. And I am excited. I'm so excited for it because it makes such a huge difference.
Awesome.
So happy Mother's Day, everybody.
Happy Mother's Day. And let us know if you have any, questions. All I can say is, yes, this can work for you.
Yeah.
I don't care what your situation is. It can work for you.
Yep. It can, it will. We're going to go through the whole thing. I am super excited. Like I have been kind of dying to get started.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying not to do it, so I'm doing it at the same time, like to show everybody like with it, but I'm like, for days now, I'm like, oh.
Brandon's not going to let us hang out anymore because I actually feel like I'm the one who has really? Amazon is because of me.
Yep.
Wow. Making things at home, all of the from scratch, like stuff that was because of me. Mm-hmm. Getting back on the Flylady train, that's because of me.
We're not allowed to be friends anymore, are we? Okay, nobody show this video to my husband.
He's going to be like, that's it. I knew she was a troublemaker.
We're going to have supervised visits now.
No, but you know what? My husband is actually super happy that I found this again and that I've been doing it. He was like, what are you telling me that we
I think we will too.
Anymore?
No, I have been, I know for me, like, I feel like with the minimalism, I've cleared out so much of our stuff, so it is a lot more manageable, but I have so many projects on my plate right now, and we have so many more that we have to somehow cram into the next couple months that it's all the day-to-day stuff that is just like tipping me over the edge.
By the way, one of the things that they start recommending as you go through these days is to add into your daily routine 15 minutes only of decluttering.
Yeah.
And they tell you exactly how to do it, which, by the way, just so happens is almost exactly how Heidi tells you to do it.
Which is funny because I never...
She didn't realize that.
I read it when I was going through. I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so if you have been wanting to make that change of clearing out your things and doing it, jump right in where you are. Like I said, everything is zoned for you. You just jump in wherever it is, and that is the zone.
Oh, goodness
gracious. That's the zone that you will be, decluttering. And if you do 15 minutes a day for 5 days,
you get so much done.
What is that? An hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You'll have your whole house done in a month.
Yeah.
So, I think that this is a really good tool too if you've been wanting to go minimalist and you haven't had the time. You feel like it can be very overwhelming to start that. So this also would be a very, very good tool to use for that as well. Yeah.
We have far exceeded the time our children will give us. We've also yacked at you for forever, and you're like, okay, guys, we get it. You really want us to clean our house. Cool story. So, subscribe and tap the little bell icon so you get the notifications. But every day now, we're going to have little videos coming out. And we're going to help you guys with all the things. So I'm going to stop before the kids knock the camera down and make you guys all totally seasick. Okay? Bye, guys.
Bye.